What's up, everybody? Thanks as always for supporting the show. It would mean a lot to me if you would take a second to scroll down and hit that subscribe button to the Hoops Tonight YouTube channel, and then follow me on social media on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter so you guys don't miss any of our content over the course of this season. All right, let's talk some basketball. Chet has been so confusing to me on offense. When he's wide open for three, he's been pump faking and looking to drive, but when he takes contested ones in the heat of the game, he tends to hit them. Seems like as much as he still has to develop, he is also in his head a bit right now. Would love to see him just take these open ones. So I've noticed this as well, and it's a classic young player thing. Young players have a lot harder time seeing the forest for the trees. I know this because I was a young player once, obviously. And I talk about this concept all the time. Young players struggle to identify what works and keep doing it, and they struggle to identify what's not working and stop doing it. They have a hard time seeing the bigger picture of basketball. And so the reason why he hits the contested one, seemingly, a big part of that is you just don't have much time to think about it. If it's a late clock situation and the ball ends up in your hands and a catch and shoot with 5 on the shot clock that's relatively contested, but it's like the best shot your team can get on that possession, you just rise and fire. You don't think about it. And it can be the open ones that get in your head a little bit. But the bottom line is like, it would be really bizarre if we saw a kid his age that just was consistently great on a night in, night out basis, month in, month out basis. This is part of the growing pains of being a young basketball player. Next question. Mailbag, love the show. Where's your rookie of the year so far? Or who's your rookie of the year so far this season? I'm a Spurs fan, so obviously I think Victor is. Your thoughts? So I agree it's Victor. A couple of different reasons for that. Like, Chet's role with the Thunder is very different. He's playing on a great team and getting set up with great opportunities as he's playing alongside great ball handlers. And that's not to say that Chet's not playing really well. Of course he is, and I'm a huge believer in Chet in the big picture. But Victor is playing on a team with some of the worst ball handling you'll ever see. And the bottom line is I just think Victor is a little bit better as a basketball player. And I think he's showing that. The most encouraging trend so far this season for Victor is the uptick in his efficiency. In his first 21 games this year, he only shot 43% from the field. And as a team, they went 3-18. In their last 20 games, Victor's averaging 22 points and 10 rebounds and 4 assists, 50% from the field, 35% from three, 60% true shooting, and they're 7-13. They're actually just a shade under 500. So you're just seeing really good progress on that front. Also, there just aren't that many rookies in NBA history that walk in and average 20 points a game. I think that's significant. I think he's easily the rookie of the year at this point. Have you guys ever had a bad ticket buying experience? Maybe you go to check out and it ends up being way more expensive than it was when you clicked on it. Or maybe you go to your seat and it ends up being not what you expected when you bought it to begin with. Or maybe it's just an overly convoluted and complicated process. Well, this is where I want to talk to you guys about Game Time, the fastest growing ticketing app in the United States. They have all-in pricing, so you know exactly what your total is going to be up front, and you know you're getting a great deal before you check out. Also, you get to see the view from your seat in the app, so you know exactly what you're getting for your money. And it's a super easy process. You can buy tickets in seconds with 2 taps. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the start of the event, and even an hour after it starts. It's the place to find last-minute seats. You can find exclusive flash deals and sponsored deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. And this is the coolest part. The Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. And as great as it is watching these games on TV, especially with the NBA heating up here on the home stretch, go out and see a game. Go to see one in person. The NBA is in a really great place right now with talent. You got to get into the arena to really get the full experience. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code HOOPS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code HOOPS, that's HOOPS, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Do you have a favorite move/counter move combo from a specific player? So I have a lot of, just like any basketball player, I have a lot of specific like moves and combos that I've picked up from people. I have a lot of my in and out step backs I stole from Damian Lillard. A lot of the footwork that I use on step back threes comes from James Harden. A lot of the off the dribble like combination stuff into pull up jump shots I've stolen from Paul George. But the biggest one that I would say my favorite is because my biggest asset as a basketball player is my size and strength. I weigh 225, 230 pounds, depending on how much vacation I've been on lately and how much I've been eating and drinking. But I weigh a lot. I have long arms, and I'm about 6'6". So with that being the case, like I play like a power back to the basket game against smaller guards when they try to guard me on the perimeter. And so the big one for me has been, and this is actually something I built out over COVID. Because it was not a part of my game when I was younger. But like basically just a back to the basket combination of right to left shoulder fades. So I have a drill that I do every single day. And I basically start on the left block, spin the ball out to myself, and I shoot a left shoulder fade and I shoot a right shoulder fade. Then I go to the opposite block and I shoot a left shoulder fade and I shoot a right shoulder fade. And I keep going until I make them. And then I go through that cycle 5 times. So I make 20 total turnaround fadeaways, 10 over each shoulder. And I say Kawhi because like I steal like the contact oriented element of it. Like a lot of people take tough fadeaway shots that are more athleticism oriented where they're like covering a ton of ground and jumping really high. Mine's more of like I'm hitting you with my shoulder and I'm trying to create space so I can spin into it and more or less go straight up and down. And like that ended up being huge for me because when I was younger, I was a lot of off the dribble stuff from the perimeter, especially pull up threes and trying to slash off of that. I played a lot more like Paul George at that phase in my career or my basketball life, I should say, because obviously I'm not a pro. But like what ended up happening is a lot of the teams and players in town would start sticking smaller, quicker guards on me to press up and test my handle and quickness. And so it was important for me to build out a back to the basket game to counter that. And now it's like no team will put a small guard on me because I'll just take him down to the post every single time. And so that's been definitely my favorite counter move combo is like I'm hitting you with that shoulder. And if you're overplaying the right side, I'm spinning off into that left shoulder fade. If you're playing me straight up, I'm spinning into that right shoulder fade. And then obviously important caveat, I do not think I'm a professional basketball player in the NBA. This is just simply talking the game because I love the game and I still play the game and I still love playing the game. All right, next question. I'm a football fan through and through first, but I've been watching basketball a lot more and thoroughly enjoying it as I learn about the more techno parts. With this in mind, we've seen the Celtics team be one of the best teams for the last 3 years now, and with those 3 years not resulting in a single championship. I understand a championship is hard to get, but if I compare it to football, it's like the Ravens versus the Chiefs. Number 1 seed, but can never punch it in. Is there a point in being such a good team if you've never won anything from it? And can you eventually write a team off if they can't punch it in the postseason? So first of all, football and basketball are fundamentally different in the way that like a quarterback can impact winning, right? Like Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion, is the second best quarterback of that era, that Tom Brady era, right? And he just didn't have nearly as much playoff success because of all the different moving parts in an 11-man unit on offense, in an 11-man unit on defense, right? Like we've even seen Patrick Mahomes. It's like, oh, you have a couple of injuries on your offensive line. Now you're running for your life. And a Tampa Bay Buccaneers team with a pretty limited version of Tom Brady beats you, right? Like we've seen how that can happen. So basketball is more a sport where the best player can impact the outcome. And, you know, as much as I have frustrations with the Celtics, the reason why I could never be done with them is Tatum is still relatively young. Like most of these guys don't really figure it out on the biggest stages until they're 27, 28 years old. You know, every once in a while you'll get a guy like a Jokic will get it at 26. But it's like, for the most part, it's that 26, 27, 28, 29 where they start to figure it out. And like Tatum's just now entering into that phase of his career. And so I think it'd be foolish to punt on that core until they at least have a few chances with Jason Tatum in the heart of his prime.